Hey fellow readers, today I am talking about Volume 1 in the light novel series Strike the Blood. This one is by Gakuto Mikumo. It is a vampire novel. Well, okay, it's a lot more than just a vampire novel. Basically what we have is Kojo is our main character, and he has inherited the powers of the fourth primogenitor, which is one of the most powerful vampires in the entire world. When this happens, an organization that sort of monitors and tries to keep the peace between human beings and monsters decides to send a girl to observe Kojo and make sure that he is staying in line, and that is Yukina, who is a trained shaman sword warrior. And essentially the story is driven by events unfolding on the island. There's a mysterious force that's hunting powerful demons and vampires and such. And so it's how Yukina and Kojo get involved in those events and try to figure out exactly what they are and whether it directly affects or involves Kojo, as he's done his best to try and keep his identity as the fourth primogenitor a secret. One of the main selling points of this novel is the world that it takes place in. It's actually a man-made island that has been constructed almost purely for the purpose of allowing humans and demon kind to coexist. And one of the main industries on the island, of course, is the study of demons and demonology, and developing things like pharmaceuticals and other particular items that are only able to be constructed from studying demons. We also get hints that the world in a larger scheme is inhabited by demons, and that the world has been somewhat divided between the three other primogenitors. These are sort of master vampires, the most powerful of vampires. So powerful, in fact, that they're almost like a one-person army. And so there are pacts and treaties and stuff that have been set with them to allow humankind to continue to exist without there being wholesale war between these two factions. The reason that the fourth primogenitor is such a wild card in all this is because he's not part of the treaties, and because he is potentially so powerful, he could tip the world balance of power. What's kind of cool about this is that Kojo himself has only just become the fourth primogenitor, and he really has zero interest in being a vampire. He sees it as much more of a hassle and a pain than as any kind of benefit to him. So we have this sort of almost slacker, meh kind of attitude, incredibly powerful vampire, who's then being followed and interacting with this girl, Yukina, who's pretty much been raised in a very serious environment, being trained to be this warrior and everything else. And so she's a very serious, straight-laced personality, very blunt with her assessments of things. And what I enjoyed about this book was the interaction between these two characters. It's actually really, really well done, and they are such good foils off of one another, because you have Kojo, who's a little bit more worldly and, you know, sort of like, why are you taking everything so seriously? And then you have Yukina, who's the exact opposite of those things. And the story really is just the two of them. There are some other ancillary characters which don't get a lot of fleshing out. They sort of fit into archetypal roles, like Kojo has a female best friend who's this super computer genius. He has another friend, a male friend, who is just sort of your typical best friend. He has a teacher who knows his secret that he's a vampire, and she is sort of a goth Lolita type. So yeah, it's filled with tropes and sort of common themes and common monster notions that you're going to be very familiar with. But I think what really sells it in this particular case is the fact that we have such a powerful main character who doesn't even realize how powerful he is, who can't control it, and doesn't really want to, and then this other character who's so straight-laced with him and their interactions with one another. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun, and like I said, the character interactions between our two main protagonists were a lot of fun. There's enough sort of little reveals, particularly towards the end of the book, that hint at a larger sort of scheme, a larger world situation that I think could be really cool to check out in future books, not to mention how we have this fourth primogenitor who's certainly not in full possession of his power, and yet we have three others that we know are probably going to end up taking an interest in him. So it's going to be really interesting to see how that sort of happens in the future volumes. So those are my initial thoughts here on Strike the Blood Volume 1. I will definitely be checking out Volume number 2. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for all of my future light novel reviews, including future volumes of Strike the Blood. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you'll join me in my next one. Until then, bye-bye for now.